Hello, uncle and auntie. There are things that seem very healthy, very familiar, but they contain risks that few people expect. Especially for uncles and aunties over 60 years old, just one type of fruit at the wrong time, in the wrong way, can be the last straw leading to a stroke silently, without symptoms, without warning. Throughout our lives, we've always believed that fruit is an essential part of staying healthy. But after age 60, our bodies change, and what was once good can become dangerous. I'm not saying this to scare you, but to give you a sincere warning. There are fruits that seem harmless, but they can secretly affect your blood pressure, blood, and even your memory. And the scariest thing is, you won't feel it until it's too late. I know many of you will be surprised, because these are all very familiar fruits. But behind that delicious appearance are risks that, if we're not careful, we can accidentally bring disaster upon ourselves. Below are 9 fruits that older adults need to be especially careful about. First, fruit bananas are a very popular fruit, easy to eat, high in potassium and fiber. However, for older adults, especially those with underlying heart disease or taking blood pressure medication, eating too many bananas can be harmful. Excess potassium in the blood can easily cause irregular heartbeat, blood pressure changes, and even increase the risk of blood clots, especially dangerous for people with cardiovascular disease or the elderly. If you like bananas, you should only eat 1 fruit per day, preferably in the morning, and combine it with seeds, yogurt, or oatmeal to reduce the rate of potassium absorption. Absolutely avoid eating bananas in the evening or on an empty stomach. Fruit 2, grapes. Small, sweet, juicy grapes are a favorite fruit of many people, especially in the evening when they want a light dessert. However, grapes contain very high levels of natural sugar, especially glucose and fructose, 2 types of sugar that can cause blood sugar to spike in a short time, especially dangerous for people with a history of diabetes, high blood pressure, or weak blood vessels. For people over 60 years old, the ability to regulate blood sugar is often reduced. Uncontrolled eating of grapes, especially on an empty stomach or in the evening, can cause blood sugar disorders, dizziness, fatigue, and even the potential risk of stroke if blood pressure and blood vessels react strongly. Especially dangerous for those with a history of diabetes, high blood pressure, or weak blood vessels. If you like to eat grapes, you should only eat them during the day, about 1 to 2 hours after a main meal. You should eat them with yogurt or nuts to reduce the rate of sugar absorption. Absolutely avoid eating grapes at night or when you feel tired or hungry. Fruit 3, pineapple. Pineapple is a delicious, easy-to-eat fruit that helps with digestion thanks to the enzyme bromelain. However, this enzyme is a double-edged sword for the elderly, especially those who are taking anticoagulants or have platelet problems. Contains the enzyme bromelain, which helps with digestion, but if used too much, it can thin the blood, disrupt natural blood clotting factors, thereby causing an imbalance in the blood clotting process and increasing the risk of internal bleeding. Bromelain has the ability to thin the blood, break down broken blood clot proteins. Eating too much pineapple for a long time can cause bleeding under the skin, unexplained bruising, and blood clotting disorders, thereby increasing the risk of cerebral hemorrhage or stroke due to uncontrolled bleeding. You should only eat pineapple 1 to 2 times a week, no more than 2 to 3 thin slices each time. Absolutely do not eat when hungry, and should avoid if you are taking blood thinners, aspirin, or anti-inflammatory drugs. If you like, you can replace it with papaya or kiwi, also aids digestion but is safer. Fourth, fruit, watermelon. Watermelon has a sweet, cool taste, is rich in water, and is often used to cool down in the summer. However, for people over 60 years old, the strong diuretic effect of watermelon can cause some serious problems. When eating too much watermelon, especially in the evening, the body will have to eliminate a large amount of water in a short time. This causes the blood to temporarily concentrate due to dehydration, increasing the risk of forming blood clots. Those with high blood pressure, weak heart, or unstable sleep are more likely to be in danger at night when blood circulation slows down. Watermelon has a strong diuretic effect, causing the body to lose water quickly if eaten in large quantities. especially at night. At that time, the blood can be temporarily concentrated due to dehydration, increasing the risk of blood clots, easily leading to stroke while sleeping when blood circulation slows down. You should eat watermelon during the day, no more than 2 to 3 small pieces at a time. Do not eat after 6 p.m., and absolutely do not replace main meals with watermelon. Remember to drink enough filtered water during the day to keep the blood thin and circulate well. Fruit number 5, oranges or orange juice. Oranges are a very popular fruit, rich in vitamin C and often considered good for health. However, some varieties of oranges, especially oranges and industrial orange juice, contain a compound called furanocoumarin. This is a substance that can change the activity of enzymes in the liver, causing the liver to not break down drugs as usual. This is especially dangerous for those who are taking medications to treat blood pressure, cholesterol, or cardiovascular drugs. When the liver cannot metabolize drugs properly, the concentration of drugs in the blood increases too much, easily causing side effects such as sudden drop in blood pressure, dizziness, slow heart rate, or stroke. Oranges or orange juice contains furanocoumarin, which interacts dangerously with blood pressure and cholesterol drugs, easily causing side effects such as low blood pressure, slow heart rate, or drug metabolism disorders if used incorrectly. If you are taking medication, you should consult your doctor carefully before drinking orange juice. Prefer to eat fresh, whole oranges instead of juice, and do not eat oranges too close to the time of taking medication. Should be at least 2 to 3 hours apart. Fruit number 6, sweet apples. These are very crunchy, sweet apples and are loved by many people. However, the sweetness comes from a fairly high amount of natural sugar, especially fructose. When eating a lot of sweet apples without combining them with protein or healthy fats, blood sugar can fluctuate dramatically, causing fatigue, headaches, and putting pressure on the circulatory system. For the elderly with underlying vascular disease or diabetes, this can cause an imbalance in the blood vessels and increase the risk of stroke. Choose green apples, Granny Smith, which have a lower sugar content, or if you like sweet apples, you should eat them with almonds, cheese, or yogurt to slow down the absorption of sugar. Fruit number 7, cherries. These small, pretty fruits contain salicylates, compounds with aspirin-like properties that have the ability to thin the blood slightly. If eaten in moderation, cherries provide anti-inflammatory benefits. But if eaten in excess, especially when you are taking blood thinners such as warfarin or aspirin, the risk of excessive blood thinning is entirely possible. When the blood is too thin, the body is susceptible to internal bleeding, subcutaneous bleeding, prolonged bruising, or even internal bleeding without any major impact. This is extremely dangerous for older people with weak blood vessels or underlying medical conditions. You should only eat a maximum of 5 to 7 cherries at a time, and should not eat them regularly if you are taking blood thinners. If you discover unusual bruises or prolonged bleeding, you should stop eating and see a doctor immediately. Fruit number 8, strawberries. Strawberries are a favorite fruit of many aunts and uncles because of their sweet and sour taste, rich in vitamin C and antioxidants. However, few people know that strawberries are always at the top of the Dirty Dozen list, a group of 12 fruits and vegetables containing the highest levels of pesticide residue. Due to their thin and juicy skin, strawberries easily absorb chemicals from pesticides. When you eat strawberries of unknown origin or do not wash them thoroughly, toxic chemicals can enter the body, accumulate over time, and increase the risk of endocrine disorders, reduce immunity, and even affect liver and kidney function. You should prioritize choosing organic strawberries or buy them at reputable places. Avoid buying strawberries that are too cheap at street markets. Before eating, soak the strawberries for at least 10 to 15 minutes in diluted salt water or baking soda. Then rinse them several times with clean water to remove as much residual chemicals as possible. Fruit number 9, mango. Mango is a tropical fruit that many people love because of its sweet taste and characteristic aroma. However, mango, especially ripe mango, has a very high natural sugar content and also contains some compounds that can interfere with the activity of liver enzymes. When the liver is affected, the ability to process drugs will decrease. This causes the drug to accumulate in the blood, easily causing side effects such as fatigue, drowsiness, or even liver toxicity. For people who are being treated for diabetes, cardiovascular disease, or high cholesterol, eating mango without control will cause blood sugar to fluctuate strongly and reduce the effectiveness of treatment. If you like to eat mango, choose a ripe mango and eat a small amount, a few thin slices. Avoid eating close to the time of taking medicine or in the evening. For people with diabetes, eat with seeds or protein to reduce the rate of sugar absorption. Dear uncles and aunts, fruit is indeed precious. But after the age of 60, how we eat it is just as important as what we eat. What was once healthy can become dangerous if used at the wrong time, in the wrong amount, and in the wrong way. I hope this video does not make you afraid of fruit, but helps you understand your body better. Eat right, eat enough, and consult your doctor if you are taking medication. A small change today can avoid a big accident tomorrow. If you find the video useful, please subscribe to the channel to receive more health information suitable for your age. And don't forget to share it with your friends and relatives, because health is the most precious gift we can give each other.